Hey everybody, Superfluous J here, playing some more Kerbal Space Program No Contract Career Challenge, and I made a change in my plan. um, I think I can get these guys to the moon. Well, I think I can get one of these guys to the moon using the other one. What I'm going to do here is we don't have maneuver nodes yet, but we do have Pashconics, so I can see when we get an encounter with the moon. And what I want to do is I want this guy who has science on him, we're going to send him up to the moon. And the one who doesn't have science, we're going to send back to Kerbin. And I want Bob to be the one to go. So he's going to have to EVA. Then we're going to have to transfer Jeb back. do the shuffle here. And then Bob, who's gone kind of crazy here, is going to have to come around and hop in here, so that Jeb comes home in the pod that doesn't have anything cool on it, and Bob goes to the moon with all the stuff. So we don't have to send the stuff up again, is the idea. And we don't have to send a scientist up. We can send a Kerbal, either Jeb or perhaps Val. So, okay, let's go to the moon. There's the moon. I like to put it here, and then I like to burn when we are here. And this is us right now, so we're actually pretty close to where we want to be to burn. So let's go ahead and fast forward just a little bit. Oh, another thing we want to do is we want to control from here, and we want to disable this engine. And let's see. We need to put this engine up here. There we go. 386 meters per second is what we have right now. So what I want to do here is I want to hit F5 because doing this kind of junk is always dangerous. And I want to burn up until we have about 10 meters per second left, maybe 15 in the tank. So I'm going to hit T. I also want to disable electric charge on Bob's machine. And we're going to burn up until this number here is 10 or so. Maybe 15, like I said. And then we're going to see if that's enough to get him back down to the atmosphere. 19 is probably good enough. Okay, so now let's warp up to Apoapsis. Oh, by the way, I've installed Kerbal alarm clock. Not gonna bother adding an alarm for this. Let's just go ahead and warp up to Apoapsis. Make sure we're not using electric charge now. Oh, we got more stuff. Might as well hop Bob out. Get high over Kerbin science. Hop back in. That's another thing we're going to want to make sure is that the science is in Jeb's pod, not in Bob's pod, so that Jeb can bring it home. Okay, now we're at Apoapsis. We are aimed retrograde. We're just going to burn the last 19 meters per second here. I don't want to be too low. 55 is actually probably a little too high, but you know what? We'll live with it. Especially because when we kick Jeb off the ship. Oh, are we out of electric charge? We're out of electric charge in the other pod, which is fine. Is it worth? Let's see. I want to disconnect this ship. He's the one with no fuel. I want to disconnect him backwards is the problem. So we do need to turn this on. We need to aim retrograde, and we're going to turn on the electric charge just for a second and then turn it off. Because we don't want to use up our electric charge. We're also going to make sure, yeah, see, all the data is stored in this spot. So I'm going to turn force science off. And Jeb is going to go EVA. And he's going to take all the data out of this pod and then hop back in his pod. So all the data is now in his pod. Then we are going to time warp to stop the clock here. And then we are going to undock. And now Jeb's periapsis has not really changed. So I think we're going to... Oh, he can't turn around anymore. Well, you know what? We'll live with that periapsis. Meanwhile, Bob needs to aim prograde. He can turn his battery back on because he doesn't even have the ability to turn on SAS. I guess he can shove Jeb back a little bit with his exhaust if we do this right. I need to enable his engine. And we just want our periapsis back up to like 80 or something. 81, that should be fine. Let's see what that did. 39. Hopefully that's not too low. Let's not hit F5 yet. Oh, we want to do this too. We want... Yeah, we'll have to worry about Bob next orbit. I don't think we'll be able to do both of these things in the same orbit. So let's go ahead and go back to Jeb. And we can't like warp to here, sadly. We have to just kind of set our mouse cursor to roughly where I want to be when I come out of warp, and then we'll watch it. We should be getting pretty close. Yeah, we're at 89. And Jeb, of course, has no control except for the fact that he can decide when to toss the thing, which I just decided to toss possibly too late because he's tumbling, and if we lose the parachute, he's dead. Well, he's not dead, but he's in serious trouble. I think possibly this tumbling might save the parachute, as long as it doesn't kill him. Yeah, at 30, we'll definitely come down. So yeah, I think he's going to be fine. Huh. I was all worried for nothing. Sometimes things work out. Yeah, and Bob has already passed periapsis, so we'll have to take care of him next time. But there goes Jeb, and just to prove that there's no science to get still on Kerbin, he hops out, and let's recover him. And we got 128 science, which is nice. We've also got 76,000 funds total, which is nice. And we've also got 61 rep, which is nice. Sadly, this costs 75,000, which means if we launch a ship, it will only have 1,000 left. However, the science we have achieved here is going to let us get solar panels, which are going to be nice. That means the next ship that goes up, which will probably have Val on it, doesn't need to worry about electric charge. We just need to worry about, once we get Bob into a stable orbit with his electric charge, we should be fine from that point on. I don't know what else I would want to unlock, and actually, never mind, there's nothing else I'd want to unlock. We don't have enough science points for it, so that was definitely a good unlock, though. And world first milestone, we've broken a speed record of 25,000, which is fine by me. Okay, let's get Bob up to Moon, though, because that'll give us a little bit more money and a little bit more science, and we might be able to justify upgrading for maneuver nodes for the next ship. He got more material study. That's funny. He got more mystery going material study, which is perfectly fine. They're not worth as much as they would be otherwise, but they're still worth something. And now at periapsis, the moon is a little bit farther on than I would like it to be. So I think I'm going to actually burn a little bit past periapsis. He's slightly off center, which is annoying. And we're going to have to go a little bit past the moon. And that's no good. Yes, somewhere like this. He's gonna come up here. Moon's gonna already be there. Ugh. I wish I'd hit a 5 before burning, but it's too late now. What we're gonna have to do here is a bunch of orbits. We have 318 meters per second, which is plenty to get into orbit around Moon once we get there. But sadly, we're not gonna be there right now. here is our actual moon, periapsis where... Okay, so we're going to hit F5 now. And if we focus on moon, we're going to slow down until we're at about 20. Here, there we go, 18. Now we're going to go out here and we're just going to get into this orbit. It's actually not a bad orbit. It's kind of equatorial. And then at the periapsis here, we are going to slow down again. There we go. We are in Moon Sphere of Influence. Go ahead and hop out and get your EVA report. Hop back in, and now we want to add an alarm for periapsis, where we pause the game. He's going backwards, so we got to keep that in mind. He's going to also eventually be on low. There we go. We'll get the burn done, and then he'll hop out and get his low science. Use this to say we're 30 seconds away. We have, how much burn time do we have? 12 seconds of burn time, which means we should start about 6 seconds before. I actually don't know how much it's going to cost to burn into moon orbit, but I bet it's not going to be 300. So he'll have a little bit of fuel left in him. And see what our orbit looks like. That's actually a pretty good looking orbit. And we don't want to go any farther, because our apoapsis and our periapsis there, we're only at 44 meters per second left, but I think I'm going to leave it at that. I think that's perfectly fine. Then we're going to hop out and get our just above moon surface EVA science, board the ship. We can't transmit anything back because not only do we not have an antenna on this guy, we don't have a battery to charge it, but we got enough money here to we more than doubled our total money. If we look here at whatever our total money is, there it is. We've got almost, after we upgrade the mission control, we're going to have like 95 grand in the bank. So if we can build a ship that can get up to moon, attach to this guy, do the crew transfer thing, land, and then get back to Kerbin, then we'll have completed all of the moon contracts and also achieved greatness. So we're gonna try for that. We're also going to try to bring up a tiny little ship that can get to Minmus, so that we can do the docking thing from there, so that we're kind of doubling up on our missions. So that's going to be a pretty tall order, but that's what I'm going to try. So let's I'll be back when I've built some kind of vessel that can do that. Okay, not only was I able to make a rocket cheaply enough to upgrade the launch pad and mission control, I was able to do it in under 30 parts. Well, in exactly 30 parts, actually. And it's going to be Valentina's turn, so she can get her star. And we are about to launch Moonlander 1. And probably only. And here it is in all its glory. All its no struts, no fuel transfers, and no even fuel crossfeed available at the moment. That's why there's no external tanks. Why I'm not doing anything radially attached. These guys are actually technically radially attached to this decoupler here. Yeah, it's a pretty simple ship. It drops these off about halfway to moon, give or take. And this here is just to get into orbit, and then she is going to be able to connect with Bob, drop off, or connect to Bob, get suborbital on moon, drop off most of Bob's ship. That's why she's bringing a science tutor up, because Bob has the science tuner, but it's attached to his decoupler. So we'd be losing some science if we didn't bring this up. And then they're going to land on moon, then get back up into orbit. She's going to throw him back to Kerbin. Just toss him aside, swing by Kerbin, and then head on to Minmus. That's her goal. And when we do, we're going to lose a lot of thrust to weight, but not enough to really worry about it this high up and going this fast. So I'll meet you in orbit. Okay, we are not quite in orbit yet, but our apoapsis happens to be on the side of our orbit where we would need to burn to get to Moon. So I figured, why waste time burning into orbit? So we're just going to turn this thing around, make sure it's aimed in the right direction, and actually let's go ahead and warp to the orbit using the warp to orbit button, which I will never tire of reminding everyone that I asked for. You have me to thank for the warp to maneuver button. Okay, I'm going to start a couple seconds early on the burn. Literally a couple, like 2. Because eventually this fuel's going to run out and we're going to want to dump it. So we're going to waste a little bit of time doing that, because I'm going to actually, let's oh, staging is already enabled on it and it's next. So I actually was smart about it. I just forgot I had been smart. I've actually changed my mind. I'm going to carry this all the way up to Moon with me. We've gotten through most of the burn anyway. And we have like 3,000 meters per second left and only 300 left in this burn. And also, by bringing it with me, it'll get thrown out of Kerbin's Sphere of Influence eventually. And when it does, or it'll crash, but if it does get thrown out of Kerbin's Sphere of Influence, we'll have the added benefit of getting some free left Kerbin Sphere of Influence achievements early, which I'm not going to complain about. That would be very nice to have. So I'm going to cut the burn. Oop, right there. Should be really close. Yes, we are. Let's just burn it up until we get a periapsis. Doesn't really matter where it is exactly, because we're going to do the rest of the burn on the way to Moon. And our goal here is not to get a great orbit around Moon. An equatorial path, I should say, around Moon. Our goal is to get a periapsis attached to his orbit, because that's going to be the cheapest way to do it. And it doesn't have to be exact, but then the closer to exact, the better. And this is better, like this, a skewed orbit is better than one that's closer to it, but like this, because what we're going to do is when we get out here, we're going to, at periapsis here, we're going to burn down into an elliptical orbit and then go out and fix our tilt way out here. And if we fix our tilt exactly at our apoapsis, way away from Moon, it's going to save a lot of fuel. And saving fuel is the name of the game right now, because we've got a lot to do with a very little ship. So, yeah, so as long as the periapsis, the ascending node, and the actual orbits are close to each other, I'm going to be happy. I'm just going to burn down just a little bit. There we go. 29.7 meters per second. Well spent. Okay, now here at Moon, when we get there, we're going to slow down just enough to get into orbit. With a little bit to spare. And then that way out here, it's going to be really cheap to do the fix. Bye-bye, piece of debris. May you find... Oops. Come on, let me double-click on you. There you go. Oh! Trying to do too many things at once, but that's good enough. That piece of debris is going into a crazy orbit around Kerbin that'll eventually re-encounter Moon someday. Okay, let's ignore him for now and retarget our Orbit 3A ship. Let's add this maneuver. At the ascending node here, we've got 26, so we need to actually change our ascending node. No, we need to change our ascending node because we're going backwards. That's pretty much perfect here. We just need to... I'm doing both retrograde and... there you go. That's basically perfect. Retrograde and normal to just kind of alternate between them to keep the orbit near where you want it to, but also change its tilt. And notice it only costs 47 meters per second. That's the cheapest way to do it. So there's no reason to do it any other way. I would rather be exact than timely right now because we're moving so slow. Now, right past this, we want to slow down. Probably here, but let's see if it'll go around one more. No, it will not. Yeah, so we want to bring these two guys together right here. Oh, that's a cool picture. That should be pretty darn good. 0.6, 0.5. Okay, we're going to stop at that. Okay, let's hit F5 here. And let's warp to this. We can see Bob's ship coming up on us. Watching this little timer right here. As soon as these three circles go away, that's what I'm going to do my burn. Okay, and that's pretty good. We can be going up to 1 meter per second without too much trouble on the docking, and it gets our stuff docked faster, which I'm not going to complain about. Got to rotate a little bit because my docking ports will only dock along 4 different rotations, or I'm sorry, 6 different rotations. So you have to kind of wiggle to get it going. Okay, we get a ton more science. Bob can now hop out. If it lets me, come on, where's the crew hatch? There we go. Transfer here. And then transfer back here. And then Bob can hop back in. And now we got... we've escaped the gravitational surface influence of the moon. That was the other ship that did that. We performed a rendezvous. We have started constructing the first station, which is a lie. We performed a docking maneuver. And we have performed a crew transfer. We have done everything we can do around the surface, or around the around moon without landing on it. So let's do that. And where we're going to do that is right here. This crater on the north face of it, where these two craters here look like a snowman falling over to the right. Right on the border between them is a or maybe it's this one. No, I'm pretty sure it's this one. Right on the border between them is a anomaly. And we're going to land on it because you get more points for that. So let's hit F5 again. And let's time warp until that's not only in the sun, but below our orbital path. So that's now, we're going to land in this crater. So this is basically perfect. We need to make sure that this is turned off and that we are controlling from here. Very, very important because we need to be aimed the right way. And it doesn't really matter how many meters per second it says we have right now because the game is all confused about what the ship looks like. We are going to get our solar panel in the sun, though, because it would really suck to run out of solar power. Really wish I could hold retrograde, but hey, what are you going to do? That should be good on the burn. We should probably want to go a little bit north. So I'm actually going to aim, a little bit south. We're going to toss this aside. And we might as well use the force of it decoupling to push us slightly north. Not enough to really matter, but hey, what are you going to do? Okay, then we're going to rotate around again. Going to burn north a little bit ourselves. So we want to come down right in the center of this this guy. Okay, there's our target crater. Still perfectly in line, which is nice. Should see our arch in a second. There's the arch. I see nothing about this that makes me scared. Hitting the gas, I'm just going to kill the maneuver node because I don't care about it anymore. And my only goal here is to stop over the top of this crater. And hopefully I didn't wait too long. I also don't want to... Looks like I did wait too long. Yeah, so much so that I'm gonna wait until we pass over the lip of the crater before I hit the gas again. Okay, I'm more killing my horizontal speed than I am trying to arrest my vertical motion, but I don't want my vertical motion to get crazy. But the impact timer here says we got 20 seconds, so we should be fine. Turbines over here somewhere. Arch is right there. I kind of wanted to see the arch from down below, but I think we'll survive with this. A little bit of a suicide burn. Not a total suicide burn, but a little bit of one. Oops. Hit the wrong button. And we are landed. And we got a ton of science. And now, are we close enough to the arch? We have not gotten close enough to the arch. So Bob, hop on out. Fall down. Keep falling. Let's head over to that arch. It should be over there. Yeah, there it is. One thing I don't know is if I have to be landed to get it. And as usual, I miscalculated. Nope, I didn't. Oh, wait, we got an achievement, so that must be it. We have discovered a rock arch. See, all that flying gave us 16 grand. That was definitely worth it. Okay, where's Val? It is so much nicer having the nav ball on EVA than it was before when we didn't have it and we had to kind of guess how fast we were going. Okay, but before you head back in, we got one more job for you, Bob. And that job is to plant a flag. The moon. Holy cow. Okay. Now it's time to get back in. And then head back to Kerbin. But we're going to be doing that next time. I hope you enjoyed watching this. I definitely enjoyed playing it. I'm Superfluous J, and I will, as always, talk at you later.